Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Building Big with Cities Skylines, episode 44. I'm Enigmas, and today we're taking a look at the aftermath. Since the last episode, when we built the space elevator, I want to see a little bit of what I've done around the area and what it's done for our city. It's actually had quite a dramatic impact on our city. Coming down here, you can still see a pretty enormous trickle, if you want to call it that, of people leaving the space elevator and heading directly to the metro. I ran a little road across here so that people could get from the city proper area down this way to the metro, to the space elevator, whatever they wanted to do. I'm pretty sure that these people are all actually coming from space because there's no other way for them to arrive in this building. So that's kind of the thing. They're aliens, basically. We've let loose a flood of aliens into our city. Fortunately, they appear to be friendly. Now, what I did since the last episode, as you may have noticed, is I zoned in this area in here around the space elevator. I just wanted to kind of handle a little bit of our demand. Our demand has been sitting low in these areas for some time because I tend to kind of zone for whatever is the highest demand in little chunks, and then that demand goes down and the next one is the highest one, and I zone that a little bit, and it just keeps everything really low, which is not necessarily the best thing, but it's not bad either. We've gained something around 8,000 to 10,000 people since the last episode, and I haven't really let it run for very long, just long enough to get this area established and see what I was going to do. Now, the biggest problem facing our city now is still abandoned buildings that are abandoned commercial buildings that are saying they didn't have anything to sell. I'm kind of at a loss as to how I could resolve it. One of the things that I had thought, and one of the reasons why I had been investing so much time upgrading my network of highways, is that we weren't allowing vehicles to get to the buildings to drop off goods for them to sell. I'm pretty convinced now, just because of the way things are working out, that it has nothing to do with it. It's whatever it is. Now, oh crap, sewage. It's the bane of this corner of our city right down here. Whenever we exceed our sewage processing capacity, that's where we see it first, is right down in that corner. It's a good thing we look around from time to time or we'd be screwed. We're just going to bring this guy up in here. Connect them there. And connect the goods, just like that, and all of a sudden it's no longer a problem. These guys will get back to business. Yeah, you can see all the ones that are gray are saying we flushed the toilet and it doesn't do anything. We don't know what to do anymore. We're at a loss. Please help. Please send help. We don't know what to do anymore. There's so much poo lying around that it's starting to outnumber us, and it shouldn't take too long. It's a race against time. There we go. We got rid of the poo before the people started catching diseases, so that's kind of good. Ah, yes, life of the mayor. So I honestly don't know what to do about our commercial issues with commercial buildings being abandoned because they don't have anything to sell. I'll look into it a little bit more after this episode to see if we can't have a solution in the works for the next episode. I also redid this sort of traffic area here. It was one of those things where it was just kind of things reaching over and under and around each other, trying to create happy spaces for all the vehicles, and in the end the vehicles just didn't give a rat's ass anyways. So we kind of tidied it up a little bit, fewer intersections, fewer things to slow vehicles down. So now we get some backups around here, mostly because of things, you know, people getting on and off and kind of just not really being sure what they want to do. We've got vehicles entering this way, and you'll notice when vehicles try to go up this on-ramp into the stream of traffic, the traffic sometimes slows down a little bit and we get this little backup here, but overall the backups are not really that bad here. If we want to look at backups, let's see how this one's doing. Yeah, this one's still backing up a little bit, but nowhere near as bad as it was in the past, so that's pretty good. We've got, you see, because I hit it under a highway, we've got a little bit of a heavy backup there, but it wasn't really very deep. It was wide, it was 3 lanes, but it didn't go very far back, so that's kind of in control. what happened when we placed the the space elevator in the last episode is I never even thought to look. It costs $16,000 a week to operate, but it brings in tourism and promised this massive influx of tourist dollars. So when I placed it, our cash flow went into the negative very, very quickly. Within just a couple of weeks, however, it had completely reversed. It went well into the positive, and we were able to zone all of the services that we wanted for this area of our city, and still we're at a greater weekly income now than we had before we placed the space elevator. So we did pretty well in terms of finances on that little gig, and now we have to kind of figure out what we want to do next. Now, one of the things that I'd noticed is we're starting to have a little bit of a problem over here with not enough workers for this industrial area. So we were going around and bulldozing things, hopefully so that we could stop the unhappy businesses because they didn't have workers from telling their neighbors how mad they were, and then it just kind of sends this wave of unhappiness through the entire area. Got a little fire here. See, this burnt down building here makes these guys a little bit less happy. So if we bulldoze it, it's a little bit more micromanaging, but it tends to kind of keep these guys a little bit happier. So this is going to, you know, rebuild one way or the other, just minimizing the damage that it does in the meantime. As far as these abandoned commercial buildings, they're just going to sit there. I don't have time to chase them around because we bulldoze them and then they build again, and then they're mad because they don't have anything to sell and they abandon. And so we're just, that's the way they want to play it. They can stay home. Now we've got, oh, here's talking about backlogs. Still, it's not going too far back into the highway and slowing traffic elsewhere, but still, this is the switchback mountain, back and forth. No problem vehicles getting out, just getting a little bit congested on the way in. And now I think really all we can do is continue zoning with an eye for constant growth and expansion that we may or may not ever see. One of the things that I've been toying with lately is this whole idea of highways connecting to 6-lane roads. You can see down here I did sort of that thing. We've got 6-lane roads that terminate in a highway, and then the highway actually connects to the highway. So instead of having a 6-lane road connecting to the main highway itself, creating an intersection, we kind of terminate it here, and then it goes onto the highway there. So that's a little bit, hopefully, helpful in keeping things moving, and that's what we're going to continue doing right here. We're just going to get this started, kind of see, because I've been evolving the way I approach these new zoned areas a little bit since the last time we took any kind of close look at this. Oops, one thing we can do, hopefully upgrade. Yep, we'll do that. Having the single lane off-ramps, they're nice because just like the highways, they don't create intersections, but I look at them, and if I can have them as the highways with 3 lanes, I might as well. See, that dump truck was very happy to just kind of go like that and then scoot around, and then he's back going wherever he needs to go. But he didn't have to do a whole lot of driving around extra, hopefully, theoretically, in order for him to get done what he needed to do. So we're going to go like this. Oh, you see all the binging, or hear all the binging and bonging. And I kind of want to connect it right up to here in this way. So this highway here is going to get vehicles to the main highway from whatever's going on here. They're going to have the option of when they come through here is they can just kind of glide off a little bit to the right and go this way, or they'll be able to go straight through and around there and go that way. And that's kind of one of the things that I've been keeping an eye on, is where vehicles can go as soon as they get onto the highway, and whether or not we're doing ourselves any favors for allowing them to do that. We're going to go this way just so that we can see where everything's going to come together. And then like this, we go more bendy bits, and like that. Do I need to... Yeah, that's the power supply for, I think, yeah, the airport and the cargo harbor. So we definitely want to reconnect that now that we've got the shenanigans set up. Gonna run it up like that. And like that. That'll work. And now we can kind of look at it over here. So we've got a connection for this area to this highway going this way. And we should be looking at a similar connection for this highway going this way. And hopefully that way we can kind of manage who's going where and why and what's stopping them from going where they want to go. I'm going to regret reconnecting all that, but that's fine. It'll just take a minute to get these guys set up once we get everything up and running. Here's a little bit trickier because it's elevated, but it's not a big deal. Actually, we'll go like this and try, yes, directly to the traffic circle. The reason being, I want to be able to do a fairly short connection across this way. And if that's going to work out, it's, again, kind of giving traffic more options, even though we know by now that it doesn't matter how many options we give them, they're going to take the one that does the least for us. They're going to take the option that makes us have to work the hardest in order to correct the problems with our traffic, you know, 3 game months from now. I don't want that any farther from the highway than I have to have it, so that's not bad. And then we'll do something similar over here. Connect it like so. How about like this? There we go. And we'll take it off like this. Drop it to the ground like so. Well, obviously we'll have to come back and reconnect those. And now this is kind of tricky. I want to have another highway that kind of comes down here like this, maybe into this area, and then back around and up into here, because I know this area has the potential to have a lot of people, and it's going to translate to a lot of traffic at some point in the future. So I think what we're going to do for now is we're just going to worry about this immediate area, and then we'll sort out this later, because it's not going to be that difficult to do. Sometimes I get a little bit so far ahead of myself that things get needlessly complicated. And the best way to correct that is to say, hey, don't get so far ahead of yourself so that things get needlessly complicated. And then we go like this. And it's amazing how nicely everything just kind of hooks up. It's like this nice perimeter kind of thing going on. We're already getting room to zone some new stuff. And I'm going to bring it... oh, too steep. Let's try like this. We'll go, yeah, it's straight and like so. And so. And so. And then the last thing we'll do. There we go. Get something extended along this way. That's a little bit too... There. That's not bad. And now we need... This guy is going to run like so. And connect to something, somewhere, at some point in time, whether it wants to or not. Let's face it, we all know it wants to. And we'll kind of run this along this way. Oops. Might as well go straight with that since it's pretty much straight. Oh, I see. I see how we could do this. And we'll be a little bit ahead of ourselves without confusing ourselves, which is just fantastic. We'll start to bring that down and around. There. So essentially what I'm trying to do with all of this craziness is offset my tendency previously to not provide enough highway connections for the things that I was trying to do. This is going to be a big area full of all kinds of stuff. We're going to have more unique buildings, possibly another monument somewhere in here somewhere, plus the standard high density zoning. We don't want to be ignoring the need for highways right from the very beginning, because we've learned that we're just not going to get away with it. It's going to catch up to us sooner or later. So now the last thing I want to do is see if we can't get all of the utilities reconnected, and then we can just bring it straight down that way. Beautiful. So that's not only reconnecting everything that needed to be connected, but it's also kind of out of the way of where we would like to zone things. We weren't going to get much zoning done in here, and if we had to run it right through here, we would have missed out on all the zoning that we could do in there. So that's kind of cool that we got that done. And now we will do one last great big long shenanigan. I had a feeling as I was running it across that I was going to have something to say about our ability to go all the way across and just connect it up. And it did. It wanted us to connect to this intersection or nothing. But now we've got this area that should be pretty easy to zone in. Look at the demand for office already. Let's throw in some office stuff while we're here, because we can. And you know what we also have to check for is water. Because I don't think that I've run the water pipes all the way down here yet. But yeah, look at that. It's a little too much overlap. Because we have a chance to be a little bit picky without driving ourselves nuts. Doesn't hurt to take advantage of it. So we'll have to do a little bit more to get this down here. But for all practical intents and purposes, the water is done for this area. And now we can see, oh, you know what? Before we start zoning everything and getting ourselves into trouble, I actually went through and I redid all of the metro routes, just because I couldn't tell where they were going anymore. I had so many, and they were set up so badly by me, of course, from the very beginning, that it made sense that I kind of take another look at them, and I'm going to have to do it again with this guy going basically right here. Yeah, we'll drop this guy down there, and then also, in keeping with our longtime dream of having a metro station up here, yeah, we'll put that there. We'll fiddle with it between episodes, get it all set up the way that we want it to. Get to be a pretty big city. So the next episode, I'm not gonna touch any of this between now and the next episode, because I've been doing so much between episodes for these here that I'm just gonna do all the zoning for this in the next episode, and we'll kind of see exactly how I look after it with the different demands shifting around as I'm doing it. It goes really, really smoothly for the most part, as long as we remember to set up all of our services properly. And if you want to be notified when we do that in the next episode, you can subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media always in the information box below the video. Please leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.